What's up, world? Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm your host, Micah. Today, we're talking about UFC 138. We're going to do our breakdown, our previews, our predictions. This event, live and free on Spike, coming to us from the UK, is the inaugural event of where all main events from here on out will be contested with 5 rounds. First bout that we're going to talk about of all 11 that are on the card pits Chris Karasawa, who's 11-3, versus the 11-6-1 Von Lee. Karasawa, very well-rounded mixed martial artist, is going to look, I think, to use strikes, mix up levels, to change the game plan, achieve takedowns, steal rounds, and really try to befuddle and confuse Von Lee. Lee, who's a little more explosive, of his 11 victories, 10 of them have been for the stoppage, 4 TKOs, 6 submissions. He's going to be looking to try to do something more spectacular. I think he may feel more pressure being in front of his home crowd. Karasawa will feel more relaxed. His home is the UFC, and in Zuffa, I think he's going to work, like I said, change levels, get takedowns, steal rounds, not allow anything crazy from Lee. Karasawa should keep this fight totally in check, control the pace. I'm thinking he's going to take a split decision victory, if not the unanimous decision victory. The next fight we're talking about pits 2 guys that were both in the Ultimate Fighter. Christy Murder Cope, who has a 5-1 record, taking on Chi Mills, who's 13-4. Cope, always improving, good stand-up, not really a submission fighter, but learning his wrestling to stay defensive, a sprawl and brawl guy. Mills is happy to keep the fight standing using his kickboxing, has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off his back, hasn't found fame from the Ultimate Fighter, but now looking to step into the UFC. Cope and Mills, I think they're going to stand, they're going to bang, again throw the kitchen sink at each other. I think that Cope is fighting another fighter, the same kind of build, same kind of person he's already fought, a guy with Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu off his back. I think he'll outwork him, throw the kitchen sink at Mills. This should be a stand-up war. I'm going to take Chris Cope to win 29-28, unanimous decision victory. Next fight we're talking about, a heavyweight battle. The Bear, Rob Broughton, who's 15-6-1, is going to be welcoming to the UFC Phil DeFries, who's 7-0. Broughton is going to use his size, his wrestling, his weight to push on DeFries to try to put this into his world, make it more grueling. DeFries has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, has ended fights very early. 5 of his 7 victories, rear naked chokes. I think he's only been in the second round once. We need to try to drag him out at heavy waters. Broughton has an experience advantage from his experience advantage and his training being so much longer. I think that he should have a striking advantage, as neither of these guys are spectacular. It's heavyweight on heavyweight. Anyone can knock each other out. Broughton should be able to control the fight, use ground and pound, wear on the man, weaken the man. Let's see what happens when DeFries gets into late waters, because through everything I've seen studying him, that's where we didn't see was late waters. I think Rob Broughton wins a unanimous decision victory. That takes us to now a featherweight battle with Mishihira Omagawa, who's 12-10-1, taking on a shotgun, Jason Young, who's 8-4. Magawa, we know him from Dream, hasn't been as successful in the UFC as a lot of people had hoped, but I think we could see a change in tides from this fight. I don't know if it'll be a trend, but specifically for this fight, I'm going to see him being a different fighter. He's getting a stand-up fighter in Jason Young, somebody that's going to use this kickboxing more than his wrestling. Magawa has been defeated by Chad Mendes, Darren Elkinson, guys that wanted to take him down, wanted to put him on the ground, wanted to hold him there. That was not to his advantage. With his judo background, he has a grappling and a submission advantage over Jason Young. Young, a good stand-up fighter, improving, a small lightweight, moved down to featherweight. Now he's a bigger guy, but not so much over Magawa. I don't think Magawa will take him to the ground, getting him a submission. Young's weakness is submission. 3 of his 4 losses are via the submission. I see a 5th one coming, and I think we'll see a submission, an armbar in the first round for Mishihira Omagawa. The next fight is going to be a grappling welterweight battle between John the One McGuire, who's 16-3, versus Ultimate Fighter alumni Justin Fast Eddie Edwards, who's 7-1. I see this being a grappling fest, as McGuire likes to get guys down and go for the Kimura is his pedigree. Edwards around the same thing. Team Gershel, a Greco-Roman wrestling background. He's going to look to impose his will. McGuire, I think, actually does have a boxing striking advantage over Edwards. It'll be to his best interest to employ this, using jabs, uppercuts, keeping punches in the face of Edwards. Edwards was able to push through the Muay Thai of Jorge Lopez, who has thought his was cream of the crop, top notch. Edwards was able to inflict his game plan, put the grind, use ground and pound, and take a decision then. He's facing a guy in the same mold, but I don't want to count him out. I'm thinking we see another close split decision victory, very close in this fight. Justin Edwards beating John McGuire. Now we go to a light heavyweight battle, where the Snake, Cyril Diamante, with his 17-7-1 record, does battle with Anthony the Hippo Parish, who's 11-6. Diamante, a Muay Thai kickboxing guru, 4-time world champion. Parish, a guy that would like to take the fight to the ground, would like to work for the submission. 8 victories, 3 via the TKO, 8 with the submission. No slouch with his hands. This Diamante is also going to have a 5.5 to 6 inch reach advantage. If he can use that, work that, be successful with that, I don't see Parish being able to get him to a disadvantageous position. Diamante has been around. He has 5 submission victories of his own. Parish has been stopped before due to strikes, TKOs. I see it happening again. A second round knockout for Cyril Diamante. This will take us up to what is our 5 main card bouts for this event. We'll start it off with Anthony Ngannou, the assassin, who's 14-5, taking on Relentless Paul Taylor, who has an 11-6 record. This should be a striking battle. Ngannou, a brilliant Muay Thai practitioner, uses the 8 lambs, his kicks, his knees, the Muay Thai clinch, his elbows, and his punches, as to where Paul Taylor is a boxer, a student of the sweet science, who has a lot of heart and a chin to match, can take tons of abuse. At this level of mixed martial arts, guys with their pinpoint accuracy, guys with their strength, you can finish anybody. I don't think I see a finish coming in this fight. I see a striking battle, Ngannou dictating this, much the same way we saw him trying to dictate to Andre Winner. Taylor, who isn't as fast as Winner, but I think packs more power, probably even more heart to not stop, will not allow himself to be finished, but Ngannou, I think, is just going to hit him with a barrage of strikes. This one should be interesting, should be entertaining on the feet, but I got Ngannou in a unanimous decision victory. Returning to the octagon off of about a 19-month layoff, Terry Edom, who has a 14-3 record, is going to come back to the UFC, do battle in front of his home Englishman, against Eddie Lotto, who's 5-2. This is basically looks like on paper a tune-up match for Edom, who is just more well-rounded, better striking, better jiu-jitsu. Lotto, who has really good jiu-jitsu, if he can get you on the ground and get on top of you, can do some damage. Has not been successful in the lightweight division. First-round knockout losses to Michael Johnson and Anthony Ngannou. I think Edom is getting a welcome back kind of fight here to help bolster the card, get some English flavor on this card in Britain, and I think that he'll have a successful night. Lotto, like any fighter, has a striker's chance, but I'm predicting him going down in a first-round TKO, as that's been his MO against this competition, not being able to strike in the UFC. We have a very interesting welterweight bout ahead of us, how the mighty have fallen. Thiago Pitbull Alves, who's 18-8, I absolutely love his striking, is taking on a newcomer, 8-0, Papi Adin. Alves, we can remember UFC 100 when he was challenging Georges St. Pierre for the welterweight title. Now he's the 3rd bout on a main card before the main event of a free fight on Spike. This is a moment for him to reclaim his career. There's a lot of us that believe in you. I love his striking, love his aggressiveness. The Pitbull, along with the Doce diet, should be able to overcome Adin. Adin, who swings wildly, has tons of power. This will be a good physical matchup for 2 guys that look like bodybuilders more than fighters. Adin, a Swedish judo player, as long as We can avoid a clinch, avoid the ground game. I believe the striking of Alves will overcome it because of what I've seen of Adi. He is not the super killer on the ground that some guys are. He's not a jiu-jitsu guy, not a wrestler, a judo guy that likes to throw his hands. I see this being as a very good matchup for Alves, a unanimous decision victory as he'll display his striking. Hopefully we'll get to see a knockout. I'm just not predicting it. We get up to the co-main event of the night, a bantamweight battle where Brad one-punch Pickett and his 21-4 record will do battle with young Novignal fighter Renato, who's 26-1 or 28-1. I've seen the two different records throughout. Brad Pickett, remember a great battle with him and Scott Jorgensen. Everybody knows that fight from the WEC. That was a great Warriors fight. It showed his chin. I don't think he can be stopped by Baroa, but I think Baroa has the better, more all-around striking. You give me a boxer versus a Muay Thai guy, I'll take the speed guy that uses kicks over a powering puncher like Pickett himself. Pickett, who trains at American Top Team, is not just a regular British fighter. I think he has the better ground game, solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and very solid wrestling. If he can get it to the ground and attain a top control, he should be able to win. He's the heavy favorite in this fight. If you've seen several of the posters for 138, he was on the picture along with Alves and along with our main event because their two opponents are so unwell known. But for Barreau, this is his chance. This is his chance to make it. This is his chance to become a top 10 fighter because he has had 2 fights in the WEC, 1 other UFC fight. This is the moment he takes us. This is, I think, the moment he shocks the UK crowd. I think he outstrikes with that Muay Thai. I think he uses his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, some transitions, is able to take top control, is more impressive in the bout, and I believe that he'll win 30-27, taking all 3 rounds, using leg kicks and taking out the core and the power of one-punch Brad Pickett. But like he's called, it's one punch, so there could be a knockout awaiting a bad prediction from myself. We'll take this now to the main event of the night. Excited to see the crippler Chris Lieben, who's 22-7, take on Mark the Filipino Recomacine Munoz, who's 11-2. Lieben, tremendous fighter, lots of heart, strong chin. Lost to Brian Stan by knockout, came back to destroy Vanderlei Silva by a knockout. Munoz, constantly improving, was able to outduel Damian Maia and make him look bad. Both men are trying to ascend to the place where they can challenge for a UFC title. This will be a great indicator of it. As long as Munoz doesn't get caught by Lieben, I see Mark Munoz out wrestling, controlling, staying out of damage, and winning this fight with a unanimous decision victory. We'll go over my winning picks one more time. I'm taking Chris Karasawa with a split decision, unanimous decision for Chris Cope, a unanimous decision for Rob Broughton, Michihiro Magawa, first round armbar, Justin Edwards with a split decision, second round TKO for Cyril Diabate, Anthony Njokuani, a unanimous decision, Terry Edom with a first round knockout or TKO, Thiago Alves to unanimous decision, Rene Barreau to unanimous decision, and Mark Munoz to unanimous decision. That's been Cage Minds, our winning picks again for UFC 138. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, like the videos. Thanks for watching. Everyone have a good night.